Alright, today's video is going to be on the DZ.35, which is the one on the left there. I made some new prongs for my pressure fuse, and I'll talk about this one here at another time. Anyway, so I'll explain this one here a bit. This is a fuse I picked up from eBay. It is the DZ.35, as I said. It's the anti-tank fuse from the same year of, I guess, coming up with the idea as those two there that you just saw. This here takes about 80 kilograms to set off, which is why I won't be doing a test for you with a primer in it. I will show you how it works though. There was a screw in there. The thing was partially eaten up, so I ended up having to drill it out. It just holds the base onto it so it doesn't turn. Anyways, what I'll do is I'll take it apart and I'll show you how it works inside. Unscrews. In here there's a spring with a bearing like in the other. One, you might see the bearing hole over there. The spring was rusted completely to the point where it just wasn't a spring anymore, and I've yet to get the bearing out, but it's still in there. Anyways, I'll replace that spring eventually so that this will stay in place. So first thing is you usually have a tool that you would use to unscrew this. I've already done the hard work. This is just a little cap to prevent things from getting inside. Anyways, you unscrew this. As you see, it's much bigger than the other one I showed. Then I could push this out. There's an actual washer in there, a material washer, which keeps the water out of it. It's in very good condition, the inside of this thing here. No rust. This is the plug that holds the striker that's in there. I'll disassemble it next. Alright, so the spring has it's not holding anything right now. It's at its maximum elongation. So I'll just push this through here. One came out, and I'll release this. The bearings are the same size bearings, and I'll put them over here. And he's got the same kind of striker as in the pressure one that you had there. Once again, it works just by the ball bearings being held in by this, which goes over here. And you see in there's a ring. It's hard to see, but yeah, there you go. It sits in there like that. When you've got 80 kilograms, it overcomes the pressure, moves in, the bearings are able to escape, and it fires the pin there, or the striker, into, normally there's a cap here, primer. Primers are just like shotgun primers. I've used them before, except I'll go get it for you. Alright, that there is a primer. As you see, it's completely covered, which means that it's not two parts that are visible like a regular shotgun primer today. It prevents the centerpiece from flying out, which happens to me often with the other fuse whenever I fire it, and it could damage the inside of the fuse if you're not careful. Anyways, that's how an original one is. That is the original one from the pull fuse that I have on the side here. Came out of this. This one here, as I said, same thing, just a little more beat up. Alright, assembling this is a bit more of a pain in the butt because you've got to work through the spring here. So it's a little iffy. To start with, you have to put the striker in because you're going to need the spring there to hold the ball bearings so they don't fall. It's important to keep the bearings as flat as possible so they don't fall out like that. Alright, let's try this again. Make sure you know it's flat like that. And push. And that's in now. Don't know if you saw that very well, but you push it till it doesn't move because the bearings are in the way. It's got to be sideways so the bearings don't fall out when you release. But then you slowly push this outwards, and you'll feel the bearings give way a little bit. They'll move outwards, but since they're horizontal they shouldn't fall out. You'll feel the thing give, and then once it gives, you'll be able to push this back over the ball bearings, and that's how you rearm this. Putting it back together is pretty simple also. Make sure you have all your parts. Push that through. This, you could engage the threads without any force against the spring, which was my first fear when I got it. The rest, why they have this, is because you have to go against the spring. So we're just going to leave it like that because it's harder to take apart when it's right to the top. Screw this back on. Put this back in. And that's a reassemble one. This is just the washer that goes under here. Provide a seal so nothing goes through. So this is an assembled anti-tank fuse, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Just to give you an idea, I'm putting quite a bit of force here, and I'm getting it just to move a bit. Anyways, as you see, as soon as you put pressure on it, a lot like the one here, it'll release a striker and fire the primer. So this one here takes about 7 pounds to push, and you can see pretty easy. 5 to 7 pounds. My springs are a little softer because it was rusted. This one here takes 80 kilograms, which translates into about 176 pounds of force to get it to fire. This means that typically, yes, a person could set one of these things off, but it's much less likely that they would. And usually it's a vehicle rolling over it, whether it be a tank or a truck, that would set it off. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said again, I'm not an expert on any of these. I got into collecting a few of them because I like how they work and I like bringing them back to working condition. There are better people out there if you're looking for information. Lots of good forums for it. All you have to do is look up the name of the mine in that, and you technically could find lots of resources on it. Fuse names, whatever. As you see, there's a bit of corrosion on here. DWX, which I don't know what factory code that is, and made in 1941. It's missing the two split rings on it, but everything else is in excellent working condition and it's in pretty good shape. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Please comment if you have any questions. Thanks again.